Because you're too old.
You'll be old too someday.
He's too old for anything.
Too old, fat man.
I was too old.
Too old.
Too old.
Too old. He's too old.
Too old.
Too old.
Too old. Too old. Too old.
Too old.
You're old.
Too old. Too old.
Too old.
Too old.
Too old.
Way too old.
Too old.
Too old.
You're too old anyway.
You're getting too old for this shit.
Whether you are young or old, you have thought about aging. Aging is something that is perceived by everyone. You've thought about how you will look, act, or move in the future years of your life. Children have been brought up to fear aging. The message that has been rung through everyone's ears since they were a baby was to never grow up. While this may seem extreme, the conditioning to have a negative association to the word old is everywhere. I guarantee you that this message has been drilled into your head, from the very obvious ways to the subtleties. We have been shown in many TV shows and movies the physical and mental decline in many of the older characters, the negative personality traits, the isolation, loneliness, and the villainization of older people. In more modern media, we have seen this obsession with glow-up culture where influencers are promoting glow-ups that are centered around youth-centric beauty standards. However, we have seen in more recent years the demand and want between kids to grow up, to become and look older than they are, and to meet the adult beauty standards. It's strange, isn't it? We go from being told to never grow up to wanting to grow up too fast and then spending the rest of our lives trying to look young again. Our relationship with aging is constantly changing, yet the fear behind it always stays the same. So where does that fear really come from?
Women in media are often told one thing: don't get old. We can see this everywhere, from music to movies to the people we look up to. According to SAG, 37% of men in film and TV are over 40, but only 24% of women are. And when we compare that to leading roles, the gap only grows. Only 21% of female leads are over 40, when 34% of men are. The message is clear: men get to age, women are replaced.
Actresses are often told that once they start to age, their roles disappear. Even young stars start to feel it. Millie Bobby Brown has received a huge amount of criticism for looking older than she did when she first started Stranger Things. Her criticism proves that everyone in Hollywood is supposed to look flawless and witty even if they are so greatly talented. Cosmetic surgery has become normal in today's society. The International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery reported in 2023 around 35 million cosmetic procedures were performed worldwide, and the numbers keep rising every year. Celebrities themselves have started to open up about the toll it takes. In a BuzzFeed article, stars like Courtney Cox and Bella Hadid reported that they regret their cosmetic procedures that they once thought were necessary to stay beautiful. They spoke out about losing a sense of who they were, about looking in the mirror and not recognizing themselves anymore. They felt pressured because of Hollywood's strict standards. The movie Barbie tackles this pressure. When Barbie says, "I'm not stereotypical Barbie pretty," it's a moment of honesty that many women in Hollywood could relate to. And when the older woman in the film smiles and says, "I know I'm beautiful," it's powerful, because in Hollywood, beauty has an expiration date, and older women are often written out of stories.
In the Barbie movie, there's a line that says, "You have to never get old, never be rude, never show fear, and never get out of line. It's perfection or it's nothing." The substance takes this obsession even further. It's a horror film where a woman literally splits into her younger self through a drug, but what starts as a dream quickly becomes a nightmare. It's a perfect metaphor for how chasing eternal youth can destroy who we really are.
The protagonist is enticed by someone saying, "Have you ever dreamed of a better, younger version of yourself?" And she later ends up miserable because she tried to get her youth back. This is similar to what actors go through every day in Hollywood.
Music reflects this too. Lana Del Rey's Young and Beautiful sings, "Will you love me when I'm no longer young and beautiful?" Billie Eilish sings, "I'm getting older, I think I'm aging well," embracing growth instead of fearing it. And there's Taylor Swift's Never Grow Up. It's nostalgic and heartbreaking, wishing to stay young forever, to freeze time before the world gets too complicated. But as sweet as that longing is, it can also show how we are so afraid of change.
Commercials and magazines constantly push the idea that aging is a problem to be fixed, not a natural part of life. From anti-wrinkle creams to fitness ads promising to keep you young, the message is clear: youth equals beauty, value, and relevance. This narrative begins early, targeting even young audiences with products meant to prevent signs of aging. Brands like L'Oreal and Olay often feature young, flawless models in their anti-aging campaigns, while fitness brands like Peloton highlight only youthful and toned bodies, rarely showing older individuals at all. These messages fuel insecurity and promote a fear of growing older, as if aging strips us of our worth.
Now, a real-life example of someone deeply affected by society's negative pressure towards aging is Brian Johnson.
He's a tech entrepreneur who made a lot of money after selling his company Venmo. And instead of just enjoying his wealth, he's spending millions of dollars to try and make his body biologically younger. Brian follows an insanely strict daily routine. He eats about 2,000 calories of super clean, plant-based food every day, takes a bunch of supplements, and works out religiously. He goes through constant medical scans, blood tests, and even tracks the age of different organs, like his heart, skin, and lungs. His project is called Blueprint, and his big goal is to make all the organs perform like they did when he was 18 years old. And honestly, some of the test results show parts of his body are actually getting biologically younger. Some people think that what he's doing is over the top, but others see it as a glimpse into the future of health. And honestly, it connects to something a lot of people feel but don't always talk about, the fear of getting older. When we talk about aging, a lot of the pressure is often put on women, especially around beauty standards. But the truth is, men feel it too. Guys might not be able to talk about it as much, but there's a quieter pressure to stay strong, fit, and youthful. Things like hair loss, wrinkles, or losing energy can really impact how men see themselves. For some, it affects their confidence or even how they think about the future. Brian Johnson's whole mission taps into that fear. He's basically trying to fight the clock, something a lot of people wish they could do. At the end of the day, aging is something everyone faces, but how we respond to it is changing. Brian Johnson may be able to take it into the extreme, but his story sparks a conversation about how we view getting older, especially for men who feel like they can't talk about it. Even if you don't agree with what he's doing, you have to admit he's changing health for the better.
On the other hand, we have Maury Schwartz, a man who respected and appreciated aging, even though it was the reason for his decline.
Maury once said, "I envy them being able to go to the health club, or go for a swim, or dance, mostly for dancing. But envy comes to me, I feel it, and then I let it go. Remember what I said about detachment? Let it go." At first that might sound simple, just don't hold on to envy, but there's a lot packed into those words. Notice how Maury doesn't deny the feeling but admits it. He recognizes that envy is part of being human and that it's natural to notice what others can do that you can't, especially as our bodies and abilities change. Maury isn't ashamed of it but allows himself to feel freely and openly and then lets it go. Not pushing it down, not pretending it doesn't exist, but separating yourself from it. That's what he calls detachment. He teaches that life isn't about eliminating desire or envy, but about not letting those feelings control you or define you. How often do we let envy silently shape our lives? Maury shows that detachment is freedom. It's saying, I can acknowledge what I don't have and still find meaning in what I do. Maury's words challenge a core assumption of our culture, that what we can't do or what we envy must diminish our value. He shows that true richness comes not from comparison, but from presence and the courage to let go.
However, Maury never got to witness how modern media shapes our views on aging. So if he was here today, what would he think about the way we talk about aging now?
Maury would say that every stage of life holds beauty, and clinging to the past only keeps us from appreciating the present. We live in a culture terrified of aging, especially for women. But maybe the real rebellion isn't staying young forever. Maybe it's learning to love ourselves as we grow older.
Maury Schwartz from Tuesdays with Maury would see this obsession with youth as a misplaced priorities. He believed aging wasn't something to hide, it was something to honor. To Maury, every wrinkle carries a memory, every line a lesson. Aging isn't losing beauty, it's gaining life. If Hollywood and the world watching it learned to value that truth, maybe we'd stop treating youth like a finish line and start celebrating the stories written on our faces.
But as Maury Schwartz reminds us, aging brings growth, understanding, and depth, things no product can replicate. Instead of fearing age, we should embrace it as a natural, valuable part of life.
These examples are interesting, but they're from Maury Schwartz and Brian Johnson, people far removed from our everyday lives. Now it's time to listen to the people closest to us. So we interviewed our peers to hear their thoughts on aging.
Do you envy your younger self?
I mean, in certain ways I do. When I think about my childhood, things were easy. Life was easy.
No, I don't envy my past self. I think that the past is what I've worked for the future. So I think that I'm going to like my future self.
No, but probably because I still feel young at heart and I don't feel like I cannot do things. I still feel like, in my mind anyway, that I could still do everything that I used to do. Some things not as well, but I can still do them.
If you had the choice to live forever, would you?
I would not do that. The thought of being around longer than everybody that I love and share my life with now is, to me, that's the only reason to be here. So I would never want to live longer than everybody else. That means something to me now.
If I could live forever, my initial guess is like, if I really had time to think about it, probably no. But the reader in me says yes, because I'm going to die with a to be read list that I will never actually get through. So immortality would actually make it so I could actually read all the things.
Do you fear aging? And if you do, why? Or if you don't, why?
No, I don't fear aging, because every year is a new journey and our bodies change and age, but you just kind of go with it and do the best you can on staying healthy. And then also my spiritual beliefs make me not fear death.
I don't fear aging because I am excited for life to slow down, and I think I'll be happy with where I am and how I've worked for what I want in the future right now.
I don't fear aging. I do think I will mourn things I was able to do in my youth that I won't be able to do in my old age, knowing I was once able to do them. But I think that there are benefits that also come with old age that you don't necessarily have in youth. So it's an adventure all the way through.
I mean, I try not to think about it, but not really, because I'll probably get Botox when I'm older. And I don't know, I try not to think about it.
No, I think it's natural and everybody ages, so it's just an inevitable fact.
I would say I do not fear aging. I have a unique perspective of having lived with cancer for 20 years. And so I think of aging as more of a privilege. And I literally think you should celebrate every birthday and not take anything for granted. And I know that my experience has been unique because of having cancer for so long. So I don't fear aging. I actually really, really appreciate aging.
I personally feel a fear of aging just because I feel like society has created so many negative connotations to aging, and that there are so many parts about aging, like getting wrinkles and sagging skin, that everyone just associates with ugliness, even though that's just not the case. It's just what happens when you get older. And I think getting older is a privilege, not something to be feared. But regardless of knowing that, I still feel like being old is so often associated with just negativity and feeling ugly, and it causes like this fear, at least in me and like the people around you, like you don't want to feel ugly. I also feel like aging definitely makes life more meaningful, because there's so many times you hear the word you only live once, make use of the time that you have, like you're only 20 for this time. And I just feel like it creates this sense of like I have to live in the present. Don't waste something, because you're never gonna get it back. You're only getting older, like you're never gonna go back in time. And I definitely think it makes life worth living more, because you realize that it's not unlimited. Like you're gonna get older, you're eventually gonna get closer to dying, and eventually those memories that you could have made, you don't, just because you're getting older.
In these interviews, most people said that they didn't fear aging. It shows that while our culture is still tangled in its battle with age, we're slowly starting to move forward towards acceptance, learning little by little to see aging not as an end, but as another part of life to be appreciated.
So after hearing all of this, from Hollywood's obsession with youth, to the pressure on women to stay beautiful, to the way social media filters even our flaws, it's clear that our culture fears aging more than anything else. We see it in the substance, when the pursuit of eternal youth becomes a nightmare. We hear it in Young and Beautiful when Lana Del Rey sings, "Will you still love me when I'm no longer young and beautiful?" And we feel it every time an ad promises we can reverse time with a cream, a needle, or a filter. But as Maury teaches us in Tuesdays with Maury, aging isn't decay, it's growth. It's gaining wisdom, empathy, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. The problem isn't that we get older, it's that we have been taught to see that as a flaw and not a privilege. The solution starts with changing that mindset, seeing aging as something not to be embarrassed about, but to be embraced. It means valuing experience over appearance and kindness over perfection. It means showing up as our real, unfiltered selves and celebrating every stage of life as a part of who we are becoming. It can shift from fearing time to appreciating it, from chasing youth to finding meaning. We can finally free ourselves from a culture that tells us we're only valuable when we're young. Maybe the question isn't how do we stay young forever? Maybe it's how do we grow old beautifully?